Honorable Dr. Kishore Tegadal, Chief Guest for today's seminar inauguration function, Shri Umesh Patharford, Principal Dr. Sawant, Professor Joshi, members of management of Dr. Walke College, respected members of the management of several other institutions, principals of various colleges, and dear participants. At the outset, I would like to thank the management of Dr. Walke College for inviting me here to share a few of my ideas on higher education, maybe some innovations. When Shri Patharford asked me whether I will be able to come here without hesitation, I said yes, for several reasons. One, my place of birth is very close from here, that is Bengaluru. That is number one, so my roots are here in Sindhudurg. Second, and my wife is here, so I have to mention it, that my in-laws are from Savanpad. So therefore, that is yet another attraction for me, though they are no more, but still, once again, wife's roots are also here, very close. And thirdly and most importantly, when even before foundation of this particular college, I was involved in the process when Honorable Dr. Gaikonde used to come in the university when I was Director of Board of College and University Development, and we used to give permission and guidance to the managements, particularly in rural areas, to establish colleges. And therefore I am proud to say that whatever little help I could by way of advice, I did at that instant of time. And more than that, I am happy to see this entire infrastructure and the way in which this education has been imparted to the rural masses. That is exactly what is required in this era. And therefore, that was yet another and the most important reason why I wanted to come here, and I am thankful to the management for giving me this opportunity to come here and share my thoughts. I would like to congratulate also the management for organizing such a seminar where, yes, in metropolitan cities, we have been organizing several seminars, UGC sponsored, NAAC sponsored, but there are colleges like this college who need to organize such workshops, seminars and conferences so that large number of teachers who are in the rural area should get benefit, because they not always may be in a position to come to the metropolitan cities to attend these conferences. I was told that I can give a keynote address on the topic of my choice. So I thought of something like, as of course Dr. Tegadal has already mentioned about the knowledge society and the relationship between the teachers and the students, which should continue on little philosophical level. Yes, I agree with it, which we all teachers have been implementing. There is a need to do so. I have gone on a little different platform and tried to give this kind of keynote address. It is setting the path ahead for higher education. Post-independence, several commissions consisting of experts have been appointed for deciding about higher education policy to be adopted in India. The commissions have submitted their reports from time to time. Some of the suggestions therein are implemented and some are not for various reasons. Yet there exists demand for making higher education what is well known as relevant. It has been an endeavor of several academic thinkers that education needs to create knowledge society. The concept of knowledge society is explained with different interpretations of its attributes. However, there is no quantification like an index for knowledge society. Sometimes characteristics such as competitiveness, science and technology capabilities, human resources like teachers are used as indicators of a knowledge society. An effort has been made by World Economic Forum (WEF) as it is called in 2008 by introducing what is known as Growth Competitive Index (GCI) it is well known as, which is based on three components, namely the level of technology, the quality of public policy, and the macroeconomic environmental conditions. This is an indirect way of assessment of knowledge society. Even if it is an accepted fact that there is no exact measure for knowledge society, there is a general agreement on the understanding of knowledge society. In the words of Professor Anand, Chairman, Board of Governors of IIT Kanpur, a knowledge society is capable of innovations, that is, constantly developing new ideas, technologies, methods and products that are crucial for prosperity and well-being of the people. Unlike in the past, recent innovations are multidisciplinary in nature. These innovations are not only changing the industries or markets, but the whole society. In India, for more than 3,000 years, the traditional practices in agriculture, medicine, and handicraft, Savanpadi is well known for handicraft, contained unique combinations of different fields of knowledge. These practices were well known for their creativity, innovations, and relevance to the changing needs of the society. What we observe today is that, unfortunately, the traditional system of creativity and innovations is replaced by imitation and importation. The question is, how do we go back to the originality of creation of knowledge and innovations? How this knowledge and these innovations can be made useful to the youth so that the youth becomes productive and useful to the society. This compels us to revisit our present higher education system and the vehicles of higher education system, that is, the universities. The universities which are expected to train creative minds need to emphasize the students that the syllabi and the degree do not constitute finality of the knowledge system in any discipline. Some of it will become obsolete with time. Moreover, with the help of technological advances, access to information is easier and faster than in the past. Conversion of information into knowledge is still faster and without any boundaries of any country. Our students have to compete globally with their counterparts in the other countries. At this stage, therefore, it is worth revisiting what some of the international experts had expressed by way. The National Committee of Inquiry into Higher Education of UK, which is well known as Daring Reports 1997, identified a fourfold purpose of higher education as follows. First, to inspire and enable individuals to develop their capabilities to the highest potential levels throughout life so that they grow intellectually, are well equipped for work, can contribute effectively to society and achieve personal fulfillment. To increase knowledge and understanding for its own sake and to foster their application to the benefit of the economy and society. Thirdly, to serve the needs of an adaptable, sustainable, knowledge-based economy at local, regional and national levels. And lastly, to play a major role in shaping democratic, civilized, inclusive society. A report of New Economic Foundation 2007 on the challenges of the universities provides a list of 7 points which every graduate should know. First, learning advanced knowledge and understanding of a favorite subject can bring valuable intrinsic rewards to individuals, stimulating the mind and ensuring enjoyment, from what education has to offer, as well as helping to advance understanding in specialist fields of teaching and research. Second, higher education must teach its students about the principles and techniques for applying knowledge in different contexts, whether this is in relation to an economic activity or more broadly about how we address challenges in everyday life. The third thing one should know from higher education is the knowledge of those factors that support human happiness. Higher education should enhance the understanding of how others think. This means higher education should do more to develop students' knowledge about the underlying assumptions and approaches of various academic disciplines. An important aspect of higher education is to know and understand about the change. Lastly, key feature of higher education should be learning about power and influence. This will equip the learners to bring about change in their own life and lives of others. Higher education should teach students about our global interdependence, including threats, challenges, and opportunities. I draw your attention to Yashpal Committee Report 2009, which has identified the idea of a university, and what Dr. mentioned, some of the things are here. I quote for you: a university is a place where new ideas germinate, strike roots, and grow tall and sturdy. It has a unique space which covers the entire universe of knowledge. It is a place where creative minds converge, interact with each other, and construct visions of new realities. Established notions of truth are challenged in the pursuit of knowledge. To be able to do all this, universities have, this is very important, universities have to be autonomous spaces. They are diverse in their design and organization, reflecting the unique historical and socio-cultural settings in which they have grown. This diversity reflects the organic links that they have with their surroundings, which are not only physical but cultural as well. Through research and teaching, they create, evaluate, and bring about advances in knowledge and culture. The principle of moral and intellectual autonomy from political authority and economic power is ingrained in the very idea of the university. This autonomy ensures freedom in research and training, and it is expected that the governments and the society would respect this fundamental principle. Teaching and research have to be inseparable, because the task of university is not only to impart knowledge to young people, but also to give them opportunities to create their own knowledge. Somewhere else the report mentions that university education is no longer viewed as a good in itself, but also as the stepping stone into a higher orbit of the job market, where the student expects a concrete monetary return, and consequently, in this perception, the university of today is expected to be in tune with the emerging needs of the society. Even so, graduates should be sufficiently exposed to interdisciplinary experiences which can sustain them when the demands of a particular job market changes. Also, it mentions all this requires us to go beyond the specialized knowledge and competence. This universal approach to knowledge demands that boundaries of discipline be porous and scholars be constantly on guard against the tendency towards cubicalization of knowledge. Apart from resisting fragmentation of knowledge, the idea of a university should at the same time aspire to encompass the world of work in all its forms. Work constitutes the human sphere where knowledge and skills are born and where new knowledge takes shape in response to social and personal needs. Unquote. Now, this is what the experts have been finding over the past few years. Having gone through these reports and what is expected of a higher education system, let us turn to the existing scenario of higher education, not only in our country, but at global level. What is ground reality? Report of McKinsey Center for Government, that is the recent report, published in December 2012, prepared by McKinsey and Company, known as Education to Employment, Designing a System That Works. This is an eye-opener. Some of the points of this report I placed before you. Now, one may say that this is all philosophical, that is all right. But what is the reality? How do we go further? There are my suggestions which I put across to you. Again, it is not only something talking in air. I will cite certain examples to you that how one can innovate, try to experiment, try to do something which is helpful to the society. The report is based on survey of youth education providers and employees from 9 countries. They are diverse in geography and socio-economic contexts. These 9 countries are Brazil, Germany, India, Mexico, Morocco, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, the United Kingdom, and the United States. You can see the geographical variety as well as socio-economic context in these countries. What features in the report is briefly as follows. Now I have consolidated for you, and let us see what the report says. Number one, in the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, that is OECD countries, more than 1 in 8 of all 15 to 24 years olds are not in employment. This is all over the globe. They are not in employment, education or training. What they define it or put it as NEET, not in employment, education and training. That means this is the youth which is without any work. Second, around the world, International Labour Organization estimates that 75 million young people are unemployed. I repeat, around the world, International Labour Organization estimates that 75 million young people are unemployed. Now this is on one side. Let us see the paradox. Paradoxically, across 9 countries that are the focus of the report, only 43% of employers surveyed agreed that they could find enough skilled entry-level workers. So on one side, there are 75 million people who are unemployed. On the other side, the employers say that there are vacancies, but unfortunately, there are skilled laborers, entry-level laborers, workers are not available. Lastly, McKinsey Global Institute estimates, now this is very important for all of us teachers, it estimates by 2020, okay, I said 2020 because 2020 is famous for something else. 2020, there will be a global shortfall of 85 million high and middle skilled workers. So all over the globe, it says by 2020, there will be 85 million high and middle skilled workers. Please note, it is beyond any country to train that much labor, and therefore one has to work collectively. But our target should be such that we make our youth employable, because there is a dearth of people who are skilled workers in the field. 6 highlights of the report findings are: employers, education providers and youth live in parallel universe. This paradox explains that. What it means is that employers feel that those who are the graduates from the universities and colleges, they are not ready to employ kind of students. Whereas education providers, when they were surveyed, they say that our students are skilled students and they can be given the job right away, that is as soon as they become graduate. Now this is what survey says, this is not my own impression. And therefore, ultimately what happens is, they are graduating, but at the same time, neither finding the job and feel that there are no jobs available, whereas the employers feel that the right people are not available for the right job. The education to employment journey is fraught with obstacles. the education to employment system fails for most employees and young people. Innovative and effective programs around the world have important elements in common. Creating a successful education to employment system requires new incentives and structures. And lastly, and very importantly, education to employment solutions, which are, I will quote at the later stage of this session. These solutions need to be scaled up. They are at a very elementary level, whosoever are doing this. Now, once this we have seen as the gist of the report, what exactly is the reality when youth, or rather they interacted with the youth, what are the reactions of the youth? Fewer than half of those surveyed are confident that if they had to do the course which they did, again, they would study the same subject. This means the students did not have it. Young people do not start or finish further education for two main reasons. They found that people have not been completing their education, the reasons being they cannot afford, which means that what they term it as too poor to study, or they do not see the point in studying, that is what they term, their terminology, too cool to study. 26% of youth that is struggling to get ahead but are not well informed about career or educational choices. And the main thing is cost still remains the number one barrier. Cost of education among the youth surveyed, 31% cite cost and 20% cite the need to work as the reasons for not continuing their education. Now this is what the youth or the students feel. What are the reactions of education providers and employers? Employers note a mismatch between what they need and that what they are seeing. They rank the competence of new hires, that is new graduates, in each of the various skills lower than the importance they give. There is a wide gap between perspective of employers and education providers on the competence of new hires. Nearly 4 in 10 employers who had vacancies reported that a driving reason behind these vacancies remaining unfilled is the lack of right skills in new graduates. Providers have potential difficulties in setting up large number of apprenticeship opportunities. And lastly, employers really value soft skills among the students. It is evident, therefore, that it is necessary to bridge the gap between what is imparted to the students and what is expected by the employers. The situation seems to be alarming. If the rate of unemployment goes on increasing, it will be difficult on one hand to control such a huge unemployed youth force, and on the other hand to fulfill the societal needs. It needs to be seriously thought about as to how to overcome the barriers. Of course, some initiatives have already been taken by some NGOs, employers and education providers, but as compared to the requirement, the efforts are minuscule. What is really required is to find innovative ways to overcome these difficulties, as also whatever initiatives have been started by different stakeholders, they need to be scaled up. Some of the initiatives which can be thought of, some form the part of the report, are, please note, hereinafter I am citing certain examples, but these examples are not exhaustive, but they are representative. Please have innovative thinking so that we can face such kind of problem and try to solve the problem. Please bear with me if I, while talking, I may mention somewhere my own education institution where I am working, to cite an example of what initiatives we have taken. Again, that is not all. We have to think, depending on the environment, depending on the local constraints, we have to proceed further and try to find out the solutions for these. The first and the foremost
is we have to create awareness among the students that passing the examinations and getting a degree is not the only way to get a good employment. Educators could pay more attention to what is for many students a key priority, of pursuing education, that is getting a good job. Education providers and employers step actively into each other's worlds, interacting increasingly. For example, employers may help shape the curriculum and offer their employers as a faculty, while providers can provide workplace simulation environments for learning. Now, this might sound imaginary, but these are the certain instances where we have been doing it. Again, I agree that the class strength is the main constraint with our education system, but in our own way, we are trying to do this. What we do is, we feel that the industry higher-ups, they don't have time for academics. I'm sorry, we have got a different experience altogether. In NMIMS, we organize what is known as rendezvous or workshops, wherein these industry higher-ups, they come. We organize a meeting between the teachers and these industry experts. 2 full days, they sit together, discuss, and then they themselves come up with a kind of curriculum structure which is required. Academicians, that is the teachers, it's the involvement of teachers in this entire process, where teachers give their academic inputs, whereas industry people tell us as to what is required at this juncture for the industry or the corporates, and on that basis the entire curriculum is framed. It is not that even University of Mumbai in their academic councils, they have their industry friends, corporates, but this needs to be geared up to such a level where they have a lion's share, and taking help of teachers, academicians, they set the syllabus which we have been doing. We have experimented on our BSc Economics course, where we have set for every subject 5% syllabus is to be mandatorily taught by the industry person. And therefore, these people come and share their own experiences and expertise about how they are applying these subjects in the actual field. So that 5% component, in the beginning of the trimester, we have a trimester system, we tell them and they readily take these sessions, but which is only a 5% component of every subject kept for BSc Economics. A foreign bank has come forward. I don't disclose the name right now because it is in the last stage of negotiations, where they have given us some modules in each subject, and then they said that if you introduce these models in your curriculum, then in that case, as soon as the students pass out this BBA or BCom Honors, I'm talking about only undergraduate programs, BBA, BCom Honors, they will be ready to take up. They have taken up certain students of ours into their employment, and students are doing exceedingly well. So this is one of the initiatives. Next, proper vocational guidance on the basis of reliable, comprehensive data about job opportunities, wages, and training may help youth making right choices. When I was in the university as director of BCUD, under University of Mumbai, we initiated one project. I think Dr. Pavrekar is very well aware of, and then he took it forward subsequently. That is the complete compendium of all possible courses in all possible colleges under University of Mumbai was documented with which are the colleges which are offering which types of courses, what is the eligibility criterion, what is the capacity of each college to admit the students. This was a seminar kind of thing, used to be kept just before the 10th and the 12th results, so that the students and parents can visit. We had trained teachers, and teachers had a great participation in counseling these parents and the students. So they were trained, they used to sit, interact with the parents and the students, and they used to guide them. But yet in the society you will find, as a teacher, we always face that there is too much of parents' pressure, peer pressure, friends' pressure to go in for a particular subject or a particular course. But later on we find that the student doesn't have an aptitude for that particular course. Now in that case, naturally, the aptitude testing is yet another part. Not many people are aware of. Government has established a government vocational guidance thing. Please note, this not for saying sake I am saying. Even for my son, I got it done, and the outcomes were really great. Therefore, these centers, there is a need to have at local levels, the teachers need to be trained so that they can guide as regards aptitude testing of the students and guide them to choose their own profession as per or which falls in line with their own aptitude. It needs to aggressively push information not only to young people but also to their families and friends. What we have been doing at trust level is we have this career counseling called Mastermind. This 21st, we are going to talk to parents and the students, which is free of cost. They can come and then they can aware of the information. There are quite a few NGOs or even at community level, they have been organizing such seminars where the teachers go and talk to parents, students, and give them, rather aggressively push information into the society. To change students and parents' views of vocational training, this can be done by switching the subjects from academic versus vocational to the opportunities of professions as a whole. As you are all aware of community colleges which started basically in South on a large scale, which was an experiment by itself in vocational training. There are companies like Siemens, what they do is they invite students to visit their industry, and when students actually they see what is happening there, the robots, the new information, lasers, they get attracted towards such vocations, and therefore there is a likelihood that students might choose that as a profession. Involving employers in financing training and education for youth. It sounds to be setting a very high goal that how employers will finance training for the students. Please note, ICICI Bank has tie-up with Manipal Academy. What they are doing is, after the graduation of students as phase 1, it is a 12 months training where 9 months is a classroom training and 3 months internship in ICICI Bank. After completion of this training, the students are given postgraduate diploma in banking. And while they are doing this, it is earn while learn. Monthly stipend is given by ICICI Bank to all such trainees throughout the year. As a second phase, it is optional. It is 18 to 30 months. It is online training for these employees while working, and at the end, successful training, they get MBA degree from Manipal Academy. Yet another point is NGOs with the help of industry, what is known as CSR initiative, can pay for fees and collect later from the students in installments. Once again, this might sound impossible that fees are to be paid by somebody and later on can be collected in installments. It is very much in India. the NGO Pratham, they have started this initiative where they have a tie-up with the industries. 30% of the fees are collected from the students, 30% of the total fees. And remaining 70% is collected in installments after those students complete the training and start earning. This is very much in India. I think some more initiatives on these lines are required. Soft skill programs be introduced as mandatory component of the curriculum. Now, this is, one may say it is at university level. University should introduce it to curriculum. No, not necessarily. We at the trust level, what we have done is we have made it mandatory for all students, please note, including in our aided institutions. Besides the regular curriculum, we have developed, or rather we have founded, one soft skill development center with a director and also staff. What they do is they try to impart soft skills training to the students even in aided institutions. Please note, for which not a single paisa additional fee is charged. And this training is mandatory for all the students passing out from all our institutions. Employers should be engaged much earlier in pre-hiring youth and influencing and sponsoring their training, ensuring a much better fit by the time the new hires start work. Now, this also sounds to be impossible. Recently, I had a discussion with Executive Director once again of ICICI Bank. They are searching for 12th standard students from remote places who are intelligent enough, they believe that they are intelligent enough, as we all believe, and they are selecting such students. They will give them the training and directly absorb in ICICI banks because they feel that at clerical level they don't require MBAs as it is the present state. As a CSR initiative, what we have done is in a remote place called Shirpur, which is well known these days as Shirpur pattern for water conservation. But what we have done is we have started a diploma in textile technology there in that remote place. Though of course we can't cater to the needs of the entire society, we take 40 students who are first generation learners, admit them for diploma in textile technology. We have tie-up with the local industry who have state-of-the-art German machinery, textile machinery. In the morning, there is a class. Thereafter, they are directly from day one put into the industry. Believe me, those students who cannot even interact with you in pure Marathi because their language is Ahirani, a local language. In the fourth year, if you start talking to them in Hindi, they will speak to you in English. 6 months before their diploma, they are absorbed in industries like Raymond's, Alok Industries, with monthly minimum salary as 18,000 rupees for the first generation learner. But as I said, what needs to be done is this needs to be scaled up so that we can create such kinds of students and help the society to gain more employment. The youth will get employment in this fashion. In case of difficulties in providing apprenticeship, provider can provide simulation opportunities in the organization. As you are well aware, yes, teacher is essential, but teacher can be in the class and there are certain simulation environment which is created. There are several packages available because everybody can't go to the industry and have apprenticeship. There are capstone projects which are available. Even Bombay Stock Exchange has a tie-up with us. They have set up the laboratory. Bosch has set up the laboratory in our own institution where the teachers are trained, hands-on training is given, which in turn can be imparted to the students so that the students, once they graduate, become job ready. Create system integrators to coordinate and integrate all activities from R&D to the implementation of solutions, catalyzing stakeholders' action in priority areas, monitoring and managing the quality of outcomes. Now this, to some extent, the central government has started, as you all know, National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC as it is called, which is founded in 2009. Initially it was started as not-for-profit organization or a company, but subsequently, unfortunately, it is turned into some extent a profit-making company where it is public-private partnership. 49% equity is of central government and 51% of the industry associations like FICCI and CII. Now, these are some of the initiatives which I thought might be taken looking at 2020, 85 billion. I am a statistics person, fortunately or unfortunately, so I always rely on some kind of data. Of course, reliability of the data needs to be checked, I agree. But at the same time, when that is the target, I think this is the right juncture that we take certain initiatives, and I think this is a good forum to decide. Yes, we have to decide about the pedagogy, teaching learning processes, evaluation processes, what innovations can have. But if this is kept at the back of the mind, that we have to make our youth employable, and the ultimate aim, of course, yes, self-satisfaction and getting educated, but ultimately what makes student happy and the parents happy is as soon as the students start earning. That is the job market one has to take into consideration, and I am sure if the youth, education providers and employers come together, they can find innovative means to achieve their goal of helping societal progress. As it is said in Sanskrit, Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahano Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavare, Tejas Vinavadi Tamastu, Ma Vidvishavare. Let us all, teachers, management, work together to see to it that we help this great nation to march ahead. However, not forgetting our roots in our own culture.